Hello again, everybody. You're very welcome back to EnglishLogica.com's Vocabulary Builder series. Today we're going to look at some vocabulary for the word or related to the word love. And we're going to look at synonyms and idioms related to love. So let's get started. So in our first part, we're going to look at synonyms. Our second part, idioms. Let's move on to synonyms for love. You'll see here that we break down our synonyms into common use or everyday spoken English and advanced exams. So these are words that you'll find in more advanced exams like GRE, GMAT, etc. And this will reflect what we have also on our website in our advanced exams database. So in the common use column, we're going to cover affection, cherish, appreciation, relish, fondness, treasure, worship, intimacy, and attachment. And we have some more on the next page. In the advanced exams, we have enchantment, zeal, endearment, fervor, and besotted. So the last of our, or the rest of our common use words are desire, romance, devotion, adoration, infatuation, and passion. So let's move on then to our common use synonyms related to the word love. First word is affection and affectionate. This is a feeling of liking or emotional connection. So affection can be seen as something that is gentle or nice. It's similar to admiration in that you might consider it a quiet or a discreet feeling. It's not too overwhelming. You have affection for someone or something. So it's nice and discreet. Being affectionate is expressing affection for someone or something, or expressing affection or love through physical contact. So if someone is an affectionate person, they might have lots of hugs and kisses for people all the time. So that's being affectionate, showing affection. So our examples then. Example one. Look, I have great affection for your parents, but sometimes they drive me insane. Example number two. My daughter has always been very affectionate. I love getting hugs from her. The next word then is cherish and cherisher. You won't hear the word cherisher very much, but we're going to cover it here. And cherish means to protect and care or consider something dear to you. When we cherish something, we hold it dear. We like to protect it. It becomes part of us, part of who we are. It can be something that means a lot to us, or a person. We cherish that person, we cherish that thing. So it can be a person, a hobby. It can be time spent with loved ones. I cherish the time I spend with people. Anything that makes you feel happy or blessed. So this noun then in example one, as I say, is an unusual one, but it's still used. He was a cherisher of all things musical. So he cherished all things musical. He was a cherisher of all things musical, spending all his time listening to music. Example two, she cherished every minute they spent together. Okay. So she really held it dear. It was very, very important to her. Our next word then is appreciation. Some people pronounce this appreciation, but I pronounce it appreciation or appreciate. This is to recognize the value of something. So you can appreciate something that is done for you, or you can appreciate having something. Maybe that you don't take it for granted, as the saying goes. You appreciate it. And when you appreciate something, and when you say that you appreciate something, you are declaring that you know how much it meant, or it cost, or the value of it. So our examples then. Example one: I have a great appreciation for the finer things in life. Example number two: thank you very much. I'm appreciative of everything you've done for me. Okay, appreciative. Third example then, I appreciate that. Thank you. Our next word then is relish. And to relish something, the verb, is to enjoy something a lot. So you might have heard of the word relish in relation to sauces, a tomato relish, that's the noun. So maybe that's why we put relish on our food. It helps us to enjoy something more. Okay, it's related to the verb to relish something. So it can be both a noun and a verb. You can perform an action with relish. Okay. This means that you greatly enjoyed doing it. You're very enthusiastic about it. And it doesn't mean that you poured sauce on the action. All right. So our example number one then is I relish the competition ahead. I love a challenge. Okay, so they're eager for it. They're looking forward to it. Example two, I approached the task with great relish. I'd been looking forward to it for ages. Our next word then is fondness and fond. This is affection or liking for someone or something. So again, it's like affection. It's a little understated. It's discreet or quiet. It's a feeling of admiration or love for something. So you can be fond of someone. I'm very fond of that person. Or you can have a fondness for something, but you can also have a fondness for a person. It's just a different way of using to be fond of or to have a fondness for. So remember those prepositions that come after them. So example one, when I visited Crete for the first time, I developed a fondness for all things Greek. Example two, I'm very fond of my niece and nephew, but sometimes they give me a headache. Our next word then is treasure and treasured. To treasure something is to keep something carefully and for a long time. Okay, but something can be treasured as well. Okay, so you've probably heard of pirates looking for treasure. It's something that's very valuable. It's something that's kept and hidden carefully. To treasure something means that it will always mean something to you, and it could be anything that has sentimental value. So our examples then. Example one, the kids were playing pirates, searching for buried treasure. Example two, I treasure my children and everything they bring to my life. Example three, a book signed by my favorite author is my most treasured possession. Our next word then is worship. Worshipped is to respect, revere, and adore. You'll hear this a lot in relation to religion and to people worshipping the gods that they worship, the god or the gods. So while many people worship only their god or gods, some might say that they worship their mother or father or the person they marry. So it depends how you think about the word worship and what it means to you. So if you worship a person, you hold this person in very high regard and would do anything for them. Okay, so in terms of love, if you say I worship my wife, I worship that person, you're very very attached to them and you hold them in very high regard, a lot of respect for them, and you would do anything for them. So example one, he was so in love with her that he worshipped the ground she walked on. Okay, and that's a popular way to use it, a popular phrase, to worship the ground someone walks on. Example two, of course I'll always be there for you. I worship you. The next word is intimacy and intimate. This is physical or emotional closeness. If you have emotional intimacy with someone, this means you share a lot with them and you're very closely supported and you're supportive of each other. Okay, if you have emotional intimacy. Sometimes people connect on a deep level, and some call this intimacy. You can also say that someone was intimate with someone, and this implies or this means that they had sex, that it's had sexual relationships. Okay, that they were intimate with someone. So examples then, they shared an intimacy that she had never felt before. Example two, they shared intimate moments unlike any she had ever experienced. Example three, they were intimately connected by events in their past. Our next word then, our next synonym is attachment and attached. This is an emotional connection or to be connected emotionally. So, the word attach means to attach something is to connect it or stick something together. To attach something to a wall or to a window, you're making connection there. You've heard obviously that a file can be attached to your email or look at your attachments, maybe in your, in WhatsApp or any forms of social media. You can also attach images as well. But when people have an attachment, they feel emotionally connected. So that idea, that concept of connection is what attachment means, or to be attached. So example one, I developed an attachment to my dog during lockdown. I'd hate to be without him. Example 2. The couple were very attached to each other and they went everywhere together. The next word then is desire or desirous. This is an emotional longing for someone or something. So you can have a desire to do something, okay, an action. So a desire to do something or a desire for an object or a person. This is often associated with sexual desire or lustful longing. And you can be desirous of something. Okay, so think about those different a desire to, have a desire for, be desirous of. The different prepositions that follow those words. So you see some of that here in our examples. Example 1, she felt a desire to travel the world. Example 2, both parties were desirous of reaching an agreement. Example 3, he desired her like no one he had ever met before. Our next word then is romance and romantic. This is excitement, passion, and mystery related to love. The little things that you do to express your love can be considered romantic, like making a candle at dinner or bringing flowers. These are romantic gestures. If you romanticize something, okay, people can romanticize history, they romanticize an event from the past, you overlook the bad things and you make it sound good. So a lot of people do that when they're talking about the past, about all the good old days, they forget about all the bad stuff. That's romanticizing. So our first example, they began their whirlwind romance during a weekend in Paris and they were married within 4 weeks. Example 2, the surroundings were so romantic and they fell in love almost overnight. Example 3, I didn't know they were romantically involved. The next word is devotion and devoted. This is loyalty to someone or dedication to something. Some people are devoted to their work or to religious practices. Others are devoted to someone they love. So devotion is loyalty and trust. That it shows that you are determined to always be there for someone. You are always working, or that you are always working on the thing you are devoted to. Our examples then. Example 1, your devotion towards her is admirable, but it will lead you into trouble. Example 2, the man was completely devoted to his family. They meant the world to him. Our next word is adoration and adore. This is love and deep respect. This is like an intense love. It doesn't have to be romantic love. You can adore your career or your children. And this comes then into the English from the French way to say, I love you, which is je t'adore. So, example 1, his adoration for his wife was clearly evident. He would do anything for her. Example 2, oh my God, that's adorable. Your cat is so cute. Example 3, you should know I adore my children. I don't need to keep saying it. Example 4, she looked at him adoringly, as if she would do anything for him. Our next word is infatuation and infatuated. This is intense, temporary love or attraction towards usually someone, usually to a person. We tend to dismiss the love of young people for each other in terms of infatuation, and that we say it's just a phase or it won't last. It's something that, as I say here, we believe it'll pass soon. It's like being mesmerized or hypnotized by someone, to be completely infatuated by someone. So, example 1, I don't think she's in love with him. It's more like infatuation. Example 2, he seemed infatuated with her. We couldn't get him to stop talking about her. Our next word then is passion and passionate. This is strong emotion and intense love. Passion can sometimes feel uncontrollable if you're passionate about something. Some people talk about passion in terms of sexual activity, and you can have passion for any activity that you love doing. So, example 1, he has a passion for writing that he couldn't live without. Example 2, I've long been passionate about art. I'm a passionate collector as well. Okay, so you see that I've long been passionate about, and I'm a passionate collector. So the same word used in different ways. Example 3, they kissed passionately as everyone watched on. It was quite embarrassing. Now we're going to move on to our advanced exam synonyms. Our first word is enchantment and enchanted. This is feeling great attachment to something. Enchanted is like being under a spell, so similar then to infatuation, where it's like you're hypnotized or mesmerized, but you're completely enchanted by something. Um, you can't turn your eyes away or do anything you want. All right, so think of that term of being under a spell, and of course, enchantment is related to things like witchcraft and casting spells and so on. So our first example then, we haven't seen Tom for weeks now. It's like his new girlfriend has him under some kind of enchantment. Example 2, the first time I saw my daughter, I was completely enchanted by her. I knew I'd always do anything for her. Our next word is zeal and zealous. Zealous. This is heightened enthusiasm for something. It's usually used in relation to religion. Okay, people talk about religious zealots, and it's an ancient term. Or having religious zeal, so someone can have religious zeal. So this is intense focus on or obsession with something. It sometimes can be so intense that it can lead to anger against anyone in opposition. Okay, so you might think in terms of extremist or fundamentalist behavior, you could consider them very zealous about their beliefs. So example 1, they protested in the streets with a zeal not seen amongst the people for centuries. Example number 2, they displayed a zealotry that bewildered critical thinkers. Example 3, the monks were a zealous group and didn't appreciate any criticism of their beliefs. Our next word is endearment. Endearment and endearing. This is words or actions that attract positive attention. There is an expression, a term of endearment, and this is intended to convey fondness or affection. Something endearing attracts positive attention, but a person can endear themselves to someone. Okay, you can endear yourself to someone by doing something nice for them. Okay, people will find your actions endearing. For examples then, it wasn't an insult. That word is actually a term of endearment. Example 2, his actions were so endearing that everyone liked him from the beginning. Okay, so he endeared himself to everyone because his actions were so endearing. The next word, fervor, fervent, fervently. This is passionate emotion or intense joy. If someone gets excited and it shows, it physically shows that they're excited, you could say that they're in a fervor. You can argue fervently about something, and this will show in a person's body language. They'll be very animated, as the term goes. Okay, so lots of moving, maybe hands and so on. They'll be very animated in how they speak and act because they're arguing or talking fervently about something they're excited. Example 1, the singing and chanting whipped the people into a fervor and they started dancing and jumping around. Example 2, the defense lawyer argued her case fervently, confident that her client was innocent. Our next word is besotted. This is to be infatuated or obsessed, and usually with a person. So if someone is hopelessly in love with someone, you could say they are besotted. They want to spend all their time with this person. It's like infatuation, but not necessarily temporary. You can say that someone is besotted for years with their husband or wife, besotted. Example 1, her friends didn't like the fact that she was besotted with her new boyfriend. She acted so silly around him. Example 2, you won't get him away from her. He's absolutely besotted. Okay, so as usual in these videos, we look at this chart that we've created for ourselves. Remember that this is not an authoritative way to look at these words. It's just a little bit of advice, a little bit of help that we think can help you understand the degrees or the levels or the intensity of these words that we cover. So you see, for example, that attachment and affection, fondness and appreciation, they're low in the comment. It's low forms of love. But as you move to the right, you'll find words like desire, passion, infatuation. The love gets much more intense. And the same then at the bottom, with the advanced exam words. Endearment and enchantment are low, while if you move up to fervor and zeal, the love or the intense passion for something is getting much stronger and much more emotionally charged. Okay. Now, so we move on then to our idioms for love. These are the idioms we're going to cover. To fall head over heels, take your breath away, the apple of my eye, a match made in heaven, have a crush on someone, a face only a mother could love at first sight, love you to the moon and back, a labour of love, and love is blind. So just some quick examples for each of these. To fall head over heels. I was young and naive, and I fell head over heels in love with that girl, spending all my time with her. It was only when I got older that I realized she was bad for me. Take your breath away. When my wife came down the stairs in her new dress, she looked so beautiful that she almost took my breath away. Okay, you're just so overwhelmed by it. The apple of my eye. My daughter is the apple of my eye, and I tend to put her before everyone else. I'm so proud of her. Okay, so the apple of your eye is something that you put a lot of focus on. Okay, you just think it's amazing, it's beautiful, whatever it is. Okay, so a match made in heaven. That couple do everything together. They get each other's jokes and they finish each other's sentences. That's definitely a match made in heaven. All right, so as if heavenly powers or divine powers brought these two people together. The idea that the match was made in heaven. To have a crush on someone, and this is usually in terms of a younger person having an interest in an older person. So the example, when I was in school, I had a crush on my English teacher. She was so beautiful and I couldn't concentrate in class. Okay, so to have a crush on someone, it's usually something that you can't act on because it's inappropriate, maybe. This one is an insult, a face only a mother could love. Well, it's not very nice to call someone ugly, so let's just say that he has a face only a mother could love. Know what I mean? All right. So love at first sight. You probably heard this one before. We met at a party. She was laughing with her friends and she looked over at me as I was looking at her. Our eyes met and it was love at first sight. A very popular expression, love you to the moon and back. My girlfriend gave me a lovely card for my birthday in which she wrote, "You mean the world to me. I love you to the moon and back." The labor of love. This is something that you're really passionate about, something you love doing. It's very, very important to you. The couple worked on the refurbishment of the house for years. They didn't mind that it took so long. It was a labor of love. And finally, then, love is blind. It's amazing how she keeps letting him away with the things he does. I guess love really is blind. Number two, I can't believe she's going out with him. Look at the state of him. Love is blind, I suppose. So the idea is that when you're in love with someone, you let them away with things, or maybe in terms of if other people think the person doesn't look very nice, that being in love with someone sees beyond all that, and it makes you get over the stuff that other people might not like, or that you might not like if you weren't actually in the relationship. So that's the end of our video on vocabulary for love. We hope you learned a lot here. There's a lot covered here, of course, the synonyms and the idioms. If you can think of any more, drop them in the comments box. If you want help on understanding any of them, let us know, and we'll get back to you as soon as you can. But do check out our website, EnglishLogica.com. Everything is absolutely free, and there's always more to keep you updated and to keep you building your vocabulary. So thank you very much for joining us, and we hope to see you again very, very soon. Take care.